Hey friend, it's your real estate expert here with another market update. Here we are in the middle of July 2023, and that means it's time to look at the numbers for the complete month of June. So in today's video, stay to the very end so you can see all of the real estate update for Charlotte, North Carolina for June 2023. I think you're going to be very interested to find out these numbers because they are kind of shocking to me. The new listings were down over 28% this month from last year. The pending sales are down 6.2%. That is a pretty significant decrease. And here's the big one. Closed sales are actually down over 22% from last year's number. That is pretty significant because we're talking about those sales which got to the settlement table, which closed. That is a major decrease. In the month where activity should be pretty much the highest, June is historically when a lot of people are buying and selling real estate. And to have these numbers at such a dramatic decrease from last year is something that you want to take note of. So let's just jump into these numbers and find out exactly what's happening in the Charlotte real estate market for June 2023. If you're new to the channel, I'm Kristen Rapoli, your real estate expert for Charlotte, North Carolina. Be sure to subscribe to the channel and click on the little bell so that you get notified of every new video I post. This channel is dedicated to the Charlotte real estate market, live how you live, play, and work in Charlotte. So all the new restaurants, all the fun activities, you're going to see lots of things to do in Charlotte. And I love to do new construction tours. So if any of that sounds interesting to you, I would love for you to stick around and see some of my other videos. Let's jump right into what's happening in the Charlotte real estate market. So if you've been following for a while, you probably know what is happening. The interest rates are higher than anyone wanted them to be. And we're looking at over 7%, even if you have a very, very good credit score. So over 7% is a pretty disappointing number, I'll be honest with you, and it's causing rate lock for those homeowners. Even homeowners who may not be completely happy in their current homes, typically the majority of homeowners are looking at moving from somewhere around a 3%, some even lower, interest rate in trading that in for 7%. And a lot of homeowners, that's not a trade that they're willing to make. And that is causing people to kind of be stuck in their current home. They're deciding that, not being completely happy, having a bedroom too little or a small yard or a neighborhood that they're not happy in, that is worth the lower interest rate. And that is causing low inventory. So it all stems from those higher interest rates. And because we are having low inventory, that's causing buyers to compete again. We're back in that competition mindset where buyers have to give up a lot to get the home that they want. So let's jump into these numbers so that you can get a feel for what's happening in the real estate market in Charlotte. First up, let's talk about the new listings. The new listings for June 2023 were very, very similar to May. Typically from May to June, you see a little bit more of a drastic increase in new listings. So being 4,655 and a very small difference from May means that our peak selling season, June, is just not where it's supposed to be, not where it is historically. If you look at the historic listings, you look at this graph and you can see these heights, these high peaks, those are the summer numbers. And this year we are down here. So that is a very significant decrease. And if you look just from last year, over 28% decrease from last year. Let's go ahead and jump to our next slide, which is pending sales. Pending sales are the homes that are under contract. Whether they're still tourable or if they cannot be shown any longer, it is irrelevant. We're just talking about all pending sales. This is a slight decrease from May, which is not the expectation. We would expect this number to go up in June, and it came down a little bit. It's almost, practically level from last month. 4,055 pending sales in June 2023. It is a 6.2% decrease from last year in June, which is not a huge number. It's not a huge decrease, but remember last June is when those interest rates were really just heading up. We had a lot that happened between last spring and last winter. A lot changed in the interest rates. So definitely it looks like maybe we're leveling off at this point. We're going to wait and see what happens next month. But I would hope that in July, this number goes up a little bit. This next stat we're going to look at is closed sales. And I am shocked that from May to June, we practically did not move at all. We went from about 4124 to 4161, which is such an insignificant increase that it's almost imperceptible on this graph. So from May to June to have such a small increase is really a significant number to look at. This is a decrease of 22%, 22.1% from last year. And in June, we really should be having those high numbers of closings. Now, these are, you get to the settlement table, you get your keys, it's all said and done, it's recorded, it's done. So yes, this number does trail. It trails behind by 1 month because for the most part, the people who close in June went under contract in May for the majority. So it does tend to be like a delayed reaction almost. So in theory, next month, this number should go up a little bit. Let's go ahead and move on to our next stat, which is days on market until sale. This number is a very telling number. There's a lot that packs into the days on market until sale. This number has come down, which goes to show you that inventory being low and buyers are still wanting to buy, especially those buyers who are renting, because renters right now, if you think about it, it's almost like they're paying 100% interest. None of their monthly payment is going towards their principal, right? They're not buying anything. They're not getting anything at the end of this. So essentially, it's like they're paying 100% interest. So when you compare 100% to 7%, 7% doesn't look that bad anymore. Yes, payments will go up if you are making a lateral move from renting to buying. Your payment will go up because it is cheaper to rent right now in the Charlotte area. That being said, if you are buying a house, you have a built-in savings account. So renters right now or first-time home buyers, those people are still looking. They do still want to buy a house. That means supply and demand is causing competition with those buyers because of the low inventory. Speeds things up. When buyers are in a rush to find a home, it speeds things up. So now we're looking at 29 days on market until it goes under contract. While we're on the topic of days on market, it is very important to remember that if you're thinking about selling, days on market is going to impact your percent of original list price received as well. If you list your property too high and you accumulate days on market, you eliminate the competition factor. When you eliminate the competition factor, you automatically put yourself in a position to accept a lower than list price to sell your home. So just remember, this number is valuable whether you are buying or selling. Next up, this number is a surprising number to me, average list price. So this is the first time in quite some time we actually saw a decrease from the month before. In May, we were at $530,648. In June, we actually saw a decrease of over $30,000. Which is really the first time in a while we've seen a decrease. If you look back historically, it was last fall, the last time we saw a decrease in average list price. This number tells me that sellers are really starting to understand that you have to list your property at an accurate level in order to get a number you're happy with at the end of the sale. So this is good news, having that come down a little bit. It is still an increase from last June, 3.9%, but that's a small number. Year over year, that's pretty acceptable. Let's take a look at our next number. That's average sales price. The average sales price did increase slightly from last month. It went from $481,566 to $487,755. and that is also a slight increase from last year, 2.9%, which almost feels like a leveling off. 2.9% is not a massive increase, and in fact, it's lower than the average increase year over year. So maybe we are seeing some leveling off in the sales prices. We will have to keep working month after month to see what those numbers keep coming in at, to know if we are trending in a steady or possibly downward direction. Lots of people are anticipating that prices might come down a little bit. Certainly, it's not going to be a massive decrease. It's likely not going to happen because inventory is not where it needs to be for that to happen. But are we seeing a leveling off or a slight decrease? It's very possible that we're trending in that direction. One more note before we leave this slide is just to note that the $487,755 is the highest average sales price we have seen in Charlotte in our history. So pay attention to what's going to happen in the next couple months to find out if this number levels off or if it declines slightly, but we are at the highest level we've seen historically. Median sales price actually went up slightly from last month as well, a very slight increase from last month, but a 2.5% decrease from last year. So we still have not come back to that 400,000, which was our peak in Charlotte for the median sales price. We have not quite made it back to that number just yet. It is looking like it is trending upward. If you see on the graph, we're trending up. But we will find out if we can make it back to that $400,000 level for our median sales price. Percent of original list price received is one of the favorite slides in this list. The percent of original list price received has a lot of data packed into this one number because it tells you, number one, it tells you if the sellers are pricing appropriately, because if the number is too low, if the percent is too low, it tells you that sellers are still pricing too high. It also tells you how fast the buyers are going for their properties, because if the buyers are competing and they're picking up the properties quickly, it's more likely to be a higher number, 100% or even higher. So seeing yet again another increase in this percent means that one, inventory is still low, and two, that sellers are pricing a little bit more appropriately. So it is important to note for buyers and sellers that this slide should be something you're paying attention to. Now, the inventory of homes for sale is almost identical to last month. From May to June, not a huge change happened in this category. And this number is just counting how many properties are available at the end of a given month. So essentially, we have seen a pretty steady number from May to June. So the inventory is relatively steady. And our last slide for today is monthly supply of homes for sale. This number has not changed for a while. We're at 1.4 months supply of homes for sale, and it means that essentially if no other homes hit the market, it would take about 1.4 months to completely sell out of the current inventory. This number is significant because traditionally, when we are looking at numbers like lower than 3 months supply, 3.5 months supply, we're looking at a strong seller's market, and that continues to be the story that we see on a daily basis. We would love to see this number go up, but considering the homeowners are feeling that rate lock situation, and we are not having as much new construction as we need to fill in the gaps, this number is likely to still keep staying right around that same level. Whether you are buying or selling in the Charlotte area, these numbers matter to you. You need to make sure that you know what's going on in the real estate market before you list your home for sale or before you go out to make a purchase. So these numbers are important. If you need any help in the real estate in Charlotte, if you're thinking about buying or thinking about selling, reach out. My information has been on the screen this whole time for you, and I would certainly love to meet up with you on a Zoom call or in person to talk about what your goals are and see if we can make that work. If you have any questions for me about the real estate market, you can certainly leave them in the comments below, or you can reach out to me directly. I would love to help you start your journey to Charlotte. Thanks for watching. Bye.